15 minutes of more useless information about Fallout 3. Did you know that Fallout 3 was announced almost 2 months before The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion? On July 10, 2004, a press release from Bethesda declared that the development of Fallout 3 has begun alongside the next chapter of The Elder Scrolls, both under the direction of Todd Howard. Oblivion was later officially announced in mid-September. The very first piece of Fallout 3 art was created by the lead artist Istvan Paley in that same year. It was the power armor image that became the game's cover. During the Mothership Zeta DLC, it's possible to enter the waste disposal area of the ship during the quest Among the Stars, where Sally is found fixing an elevator. When talking to her, a dialogue option will appear saying, "What an incredible smell you've discovered."
Yeah. It's kind of stinky in here.
Which is also what Han Solo says in the movie Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope, when the main characters find themselves in the maintenance level of the Death Star.
What an incredible smell you've discovered!
Some of the cars found in Fallout 3 are based on a concept car from the 1950s called Ford Nucleon, developed by Ford as a future nuclear-powered vehicle. Instead of a traditional combustion engine, it would have been powered by a small nuclear reactor. When in combat with a Mr. Gutsy robot, he often says,
"There's nothing I like better than the smell of plasma in the morning."
This is an allusion to the line, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning," spoken by the Lieutenant Colonel William Kilgore in the movie Apocalypse Now.
"I love the smell of napalm in the morning."
In the Broken Steel DLC, during the quest Who Dares Wins, you will have to repair and ride the presidential metro train to Adams Air Force Base. But did you know the cutscene during which the player character travels through the subway does not actually feature a working vehicle? Instead, the game equips the player character with something called Metro Car Armor that resembles the inside of the train and makes the player character run along the tracks at a very high speed, simulating moving through the subway on a train. Looking at the whole thing in third person, it appears you're wearing a massive train hat on your head. There's a cut early Pip-Boy Interface mockup left in the game's data files, with a red color scheme and different looking map icons. In order to listen to the radio, it appears that originally it was planned for the player to be able to tune into various radio stations in the Capital Wasteland instead of what we got in the final game. Multiple cut quest names can be seen in the images as well, like Endgame and Pentagon Rally the Troops. Have you ever noticed that there's no vault door control pod inside Vault 106? If you accidentally close the vault's doors while being inside, you will end up being trapped there indefinitely while being gassed with psychoactive drugs. The control pod was most likely cut due to an oversight. Lucy, the little doctor in Little Lamplight, is a reference to the character Lucy from Charles Schultz's Peanuts comic strip. Inside the clinic where she's located, a sign reading "The Doctor is in" can also be found, which was often seen on Lucy's stand in the series. Dean Dewey, a Protectron programmed to fill the role of a principal in the Roosevelt Academy, is named after both John Dewey, an educational reformer, and Melville Dewey, the librarian who created the Dewey Decimal System. He also possesses unique dialogue if your character has low intelligence.
"No students in hall without pass. Visitors must sign in at administration. Special needs students must be chaperoned at all times. Allow me to escort you back to class, child."
This is the only low intelligence encounter in the whole game. Fordham Flash Memorial Field, where you can see a raider trying to play baseball, is named after a professional baseball player, Frankie Frisch, whose nickname was the Fordham Flash. Did you know that Fallout 3 got banned in Australia due to the drug morphine being referenced in the game? Back in 2008, the Australian Classification Board determined that the game was promoting and rewarding the use of prescribed drugs and refused to issue an age rating, effectively banning it, which forced Bethesda to rename morphine to Med-X. The game was eventually released after being censored. To avoid any more controversy, morphine was renamed to Med-X on all releases worldwide. worldwide. But even that didn't save the game to be even more censored in Japan, where the Power of the Atom side quest was removed completely, eliminating the chance of detonating the nuclear bomb found in the middle of Megaton. This was most likely done due to the sensitivity surrounding the nuclear bombings that occurred in the country during World War II. The Fat Man, named after the bomb dropped on Nagasaki, was renamed to Nuka Launcher as well. Another interesting fact about the Fat Man is that it's based on an actual real-life nuke launcher called the M388 Davy Crockett Tactical Nuclear Recoilless Rifle, which was made in the 1950s by the US military. A random encounter can occur where a character named Mel, wearing a leather jacket and sporting a sawed-off shotgun, will try to rob you.
Hold it right there, pal. You're giving me everything you own. Now.
If you have high perception or fail enough speech checks, Mel will reveal that the shotgun is unloaded.
Ah, man. Now I have to kill you. Damn it, I'm out of bullets, too.
This whole scene is a reference to the movie Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior, where Max, played by Mel Gibson, would use a similar looking shotgun to threaten others, even though he wouldn't have any ammunition for it. Professor Calvert, the main antagonist in the Point Lookout DLC, has an invisible human version identified as the Brain, located in a non-openable Pulowski preservation shelter inside the Cuppa Joe building. This version is the source of Calvert's voice inside of the Lone Wanderer's mind during the mission to stop the transmission between him and the Tribals. There's a glitch that you can use to obtain multiple companions that will follow you around at the same time. To do this, you will need to be level 22 and have the Puppies perk, which only becomes available in the Broken Steel DLC. For those who don't know, with this perk, one of Dogmeat's puppy offsprings will take his place every time he dies, spawning at Vault 101's entrance. What you need to do is recruit Dogmeat and another companion, in my case Sharon, then go and find the third companion that you want in your group. Now, in order to recruit him, you will need to kill Dogmeat. Once that's done, for some reason, the game glitches out, allowing you to recruit the third companion before the new Dogmeat spawns in front of Vault 101. Once you've successfully done that, head to the vault and recruit the new Dogmeat. Now you will have 3 companions. You can repeat these steps unlimited amount of times until you have all the companions in the game. The first log entry in the Research Lee terminal in the Museum of Technology contains lyrics from the song Archetype by the band Fear Factory. The infection has been removed. The soul of this machine has improved.
The infection has been removed. The soul of this machine has improved.
The mainframe is named the Archetype Model FF06, Archetype being the song's name, FF standing for Fear Factory, and 06 being the album's number. A cut radio station called Tenpenny Tower Radio was once planned to appear in the game, hosted by Alistair Tenpenny, the founder and owner of Tenpenny Tower. He would have pretended to be a radio celebrity, offering various motivational phrases and truisms. Some of his cut voice lines can still be found in the game files.
Thank you for listening to Tenpenny Tower Radio Service, brought to you by Alistair Tenpenny. And now it's time for another Tenpenny truism. Never wonder for a moment if you're worthy of the benefits you possess. Rather wonder always if you have utilized them to their fullest. The beggar must lay down his cup, for a man needs both hands to grasp the future. The poor man wonders why he is poor. The rich man knows why he is rich. This has been a Tenpenny truism.
Paul Hannon Jr., a resident of Vault 101 and a tunnel snake, will have this to say if asked why he listens to Butch.
Because he's my pal. My brother. All us tunnel snakes are brothers. Birth to earth. Womb to tomb.
This is a direct quote from the 1961 movie West Side Story, where 2 characters, Riff and Tony, part of a young American gang from the 1950s, also say,
Womb to tomb? First to earth, and I'll live to regret this.
During the main quest, The Waters of Life, Enclave will storm Project Purity and confront James in the Rotunda chamber, making him sacrifice himself in order to save you and the rest of the scientists. This scene was originally intended to play out a bit differently, with the chamber being open and Dr. Lee being inside together with James. A cut dialogue scene found in the GEC revealed that just before sacrificing himself, James would have told Madison to leave.
James, this is wrong. You can't do this.
Madison, please. Now's not the time. I'll get the information the Colonel needs, but I need you to...
I won't help you do this, James, not after everything it took to get here.
I need you to monitor the output levels on pumps 3 and 4. Please, step over to the panel and keep an eye on them, will you?
What? What are you talking about? That doesn't even make sense.
Madison, please. It's very important that you do this right now. Just step over to the panel while I access the computer in the control booth.
James,
Please, just monitor the pumps.
By the authority of the President, this facility is now under United States government control.
That's quite impossible. This is a private project. The Enclave has no authority here. I'm going to have to ask you to leave at once.
The Virgo II moon landing mission's lunar lander on display in the Museum of Technology is not that of the NASA's Lunar Excursion Module, but the design is that of the Soviet LK lunar lander developed in the 1960s. While in combat, Fawkes will say,
"I only kill to know I'm alive!"
referencing lyrics from the song So What by the band Ministry, released in 1989. The Tallboy statue erected in Paradise Falls is modeled after the mascot of the Big Boy fast food restaurant chain, but instead of holding a burger, the in-game version is holding a drink. A glitch can be utilized in the Shellbridge tunnels located north of Vault 87 that will allow you to obtain infinite amount of science skill books. First, you need to enter the Shellbridge tunnels and locate a dead ant researcher, then loot his body and take the big book of science off him. Once that's done, exit the cave and wait for 3 days. The glitch here is that some NPCs in the game respawn after a certain amount of time has passed, and in our case, so will the ant researcher. All you need to do is re-enter the cave, kill him, loot the big book of science again, exit the cave, wait for 3 days, and kill him again. A pretty simple glitch that will allow you to level up your science skill all the way to 100. If you accept the Power of the Atom side quest from Mr. Burke to rig the bomb in Megaton, but instead disarm it and wait a couple of hours, Burke will run up to you and confront you for betraying him.
You self-righteous little... Do you have any idea what you've done to my employer's development plan? A word of advice. Watch your back.
Afterwards, he will send hitmen to kill you.
Mr. Burke says good night.
With a note that reads, find the player and show how we treat people that fail to live up to Mr. Tenpenny's expectations. Do not fail me. You know what will happen if you arouse my displeasure. In the Broken Steel DLC, you can encounter a ghoul named Griffon selling a bootleg version of Aqua Pura and claiming that it reverses ghoulification. If you go to his hideout in the Museum Authority building and rummage through one of his cabinets there, you can find a bunch of the same wigs that Griffon is wearing. Going back to Underworld and talking to Griffon while wearing one of these wigs will give you a unique dialogue option that reads, "Who does your hair? It looks rather similar to mine, doesn't it?"
Yeah, look at that. We practically have the same haircut. What are the chances of that?
Dr. Zimmer, the leader of the Institute's Synth Retention Bureau, found in Rivet City, is likely a reference to the film Mandroid, in which Dr. Carl Zimmer is the creator of a humanoid robot. The picture for the cyborg perk resembles the T-800's appearance from Terminator 2 Judgment Day, with half of the flesh on its face gone and one of its arms severely damaged, just like in the movie. During the Nuka-Cola Challenge side quest, after retrieving the Nuka-Cola Clear formula, you will be confronted by a raider gang calling themselves Sudden Death Overtime.
Hold it right there. What are you doing here? Don't take slap shots at me like that. We saw you come out of the Nuka-Cola plant, and we know you've got the formula.
Now you gotta make a decision. Go for the power play or sit in the penalty box.
These guys are wannabe hockey players who believed that before the Great War, every city had ice gangs who would fight in arenas in front of thousands of spectators.
The name's Goalie Ledoux, and I'm captain of Sudden Death Overtime, the last of the ice gangs. There was a time where every city had their own ice gangs, and thousands would show up to watch them all duke it out in giant arenas. We aim to bring those days back. Penalty? No one tries to put one past Goalie Ledoux. Ice 'em, guys!